Welcome back, everybody. In this episode, Mo and I had the opportunity to sit down with Lil Barcaski. She was the one that helped me publish my book, Street Tales Volume 1. She's been writing or in the arts, and even a funny story, she's been ghostwriting since she was 13 years old and has been a creative, as we say, pretty much her whole life. With that being said, Lil was able to create businesses and work to fit her lifestyle. She is the CEO of Ghostwriters Network, GWN Publishing, and Newpreneurship. We were able to sit down with Lil, talk a little bit about her life, talk about the different businesses she has started over her career, how they're expanding. She does so much. She's publishing 4 to 5 books a month. She's ghostwriting 4 to 5 books a year. Top of that, she coaches new writers. She coaches actors. She coaches playwrights. She does screenwriting. When she has time, she throws in theater festivals down in Florida. Lil is a great person. She has great insight and years of experience. And now her new endeavor is teaching and coaching others how to start their business with the Newpreneurship program. All of her links will be in the description below. I hope you enjoy. Welcome back, everybody. I am super pumped. I have one of my favorite people on the planet, Lil Barcaski, and we've been talking about this. I was shopping the idea of a book around and came across Doug White, who we know, and then later Jason Palomara. And actually, we will talk about this a little bit, but the publishing industry is such a vast thing, an unknown thing, especially for people who don't, first-time authors, things like that. Simultaneously, they both said, you need to talk to Lil. She's awesome. You can trust her. And I said, well, say less. That's what I'm going to do. And then I sent my stuff to Lil, had our first couple meetings, and I was like, I love it so much because you are you're a straight shooter, right off the cuff. And going through the process of editing, publishing, all that stuff, it's an extremely humbling experience because you're like, oh, I did this great work. And you're like, yeah, it's a good start. Let's cut all this and we're going to redo it. So it's very humbling. But listen, that's who I am as a person, and I loved every moment of it. And we came up with a beautiful product. So Lil, I'm super pumped to have you on and talk about who you are, how you came to be in this industry, and then also what you're doing, because I'm also a big fan of what you continue to do outside of the publishing space.
I guess I'm mean to everyone.
I don't think it's mean. You're just honest.
Well, Mo, I am Italian. Poor Mo. Somehow or another, we've decided before this that being Italian to married to an Italian man and her being African American, they've somehow made Dominican Republic film. I don't even want to.
Yes, we do not. That is not true.
But I always say I'm a quarter Polish, a quarter Russian, and 100% Italian.
There you go.
So we can't lie. It's a thing. And I'm also from New Jersey, which makes it even worse. Because
I love it.
They shoot you in the knee in New Jersey when you lie. So,
that's right.
But I've taught acting a long time too. I've always been involved in acting. I still am. I have a theater company. I moved to be near my theater company because I was driving an hour exchange. I got sick of that. But I have a guy, just to make you feel better, probably, let's say close to 60, came to one of my acting classes, and he'd been acting a long time in community theater. And we were doing scene study, Tyler, and he did a monologue. And I went, oh, that's a good start.
I love it though.
Cold water on his face. He was like,
"Oh,
what?" I'm like,
just like
it's
that.
a good start. Now we have someplace to work from. I'm thinking I was going to help the guy. And he thought he was, I don't know,
top of his game,
something, whatever. So I guess it's me. I don't. But it was a good start.
I love it
though. Wasn't good.
And I appreciate it. Oh, did we lose you, Lil?
So I don't know how I got into this. I am very eclectic. I started out wanting to be actually in the theater. I went to NYU. A lot of weird things happened. I've also always been a musician. So the combination, I'm very artistic, always something like that, writing all my life.
Actually,
and I really wasn't writing for a living until, I guess about 15 years or so ago, because I owned a web development company, still do. We made your website, as you know, and Jason's and some other people's. But I worked with a guy who needed a ghostwriter, and we got friendly, and I started ghostwriting for him at a very shitty price, if I can say those words. I didn't make much money, but it was pretty low rent. But he wanted me to become his partner, his business partner, and I did. And then he got stage 4 cancer. Almost immediately.
Oh
so he was super sick, and I wound up having to take over the company for about 4 or 5 months without any pay and rescue everything that we were doing. Oh my God, so wrong. And when he got better, I started my own company and said, we need to get all new people because none of what you're doing is right. But I learned a lot about publishing in those 4 months, and we got 8 books out for him and saved the day. And then I had to start over because I was dead broke. And so I started another company. So that's what we did. And then we own GWN Publishing, which stands for Ghostwriters Network. And it's me and my team of my crazy women, all America, women all over America. We have, and they're all named Kristen, Christina or Kristen, except for Becky. So I have,
there you go.
Yeah, Becky's my web developer. Kristen is our proofreader. Christina is our cover designer, and Christina Rodriguez, we call Chris, does our interior design. So a lot of Chris's, and me. And that's going to be my next book. All the Chris's and me. That's what it's going to be.
Oh, that would be great. See, but I think you're a creative, and I love it. But let's back it up just a little bit because we get going. But can you talk about where you grew up, how you grew up? I mean, I'm fascinated what led you into this field. Basically it's you become like a hub for a lot of law enforcement first-time authors, at least. I mean, at least in my world. And it's just, it is what it is. So, and I appreciate it.
I think the world of you. Yeah, we love you. We love you in this place. I grew up in New Jersey, outside of New York. I went to high school there, and then I got very involved in theater. I went to high school. I was the youngest person in the building. I was 13. And my parents said, well, you're in high school. You can do whatever you want. On Sundays, my crazy parents, I would get on the bus and go to New York and see theater at 13. They never said, don't go. I went to matinees all the time. The little usherette ladies would put me in seats when they realized that I was standing, because I took standing room a lot because I couldn't afford a seat. And I was very involved in the theater from the time I was 13 years old. And by 16, I was working in a professional theater.
In New York?
The only day I couldn't do was Wednesday because of school, but I was there every other day for all the shows. Met a lot of professional actors and actresses, and including, some very big names, Sondheim for one, Sondheim and Hal Prince, and a bunch of other very famous people. And I started to go to NYU. My grandfather dropped dead in the street when I was first year of college, and I wound up having to go back home to deal with a lot of stuff. So anyway, I couldn't go running in and out of the city at that point. So I switched. I was always a musician. I've been a drummer my whole life, played in a band, and I was the student conductor and all that stuff. And that's been me. I've been doing all that stuff for a long time, but I've been writing since high school. I've been writing all my life. And
what kind of writing? Just to touch it real quick. What kind of writing? Because I know it's vast.
Honestly, I kept a journal through high school, and one of my friends was supposed to do that for senior year, and she forgot the whole year.
Well, fair enough.
Lucky for her, I had those marble notebooks, and I would sign -me. Never sign my name. So I handed her 3 or 4 of them.
My gosh.
Turn them in, go ahead. And she turned them in, and the English teacher said, where have you been? You're a writer. This is your calling. This is what you should do.
So you were ghostwriting in high school?
I was apparently a ghostwriter. You don't
unknowingly
know
ghostwriting. Yeah.
I've told that story to who's ever said that, and you are correct. I knew. I was her ghost. Apparently, I was her ghostwriter. And she got an A. She's still best friends. So that was. So I've been writing most of my life, playing music most of my life, involved in theater most of my life, all that kind of stuff. Because that's really me. And then I eventually got sick of being cold, and I went to grad school in Florida and stayed, more or less. Sure, that's the short version of a very long story.
But you touched on a lot, and so it just sounds like it was a passion from was anyone in your family into the arts? I don't even know how to define because you kind of covered all the bases. So you kind of, it wasn't just one section.
Does your husband sing around the house?
No, he does not.
Come on, Big Frank. Come on, baby.
Big Frank is a handsome dude without a voice, though.
And he's one of the few.
All right.
Italians and Irish people can sing. It's like, Cartman with the bass player guy.
Yeah.
You got a bass. There's a bass in your guitar in your basement, and sure enough, there was. So most of us can sing. My uncle was a musician, and very good one. My father can't carry a tune, or couldn't. My mother had a gorgeous voice. She played Dorothy in Wizard of Oz in high school, and that kind of way. Beautiful, beautiful. My grandmother had a beautiful voice. My grandfather sang all the time. So I had music around me a lot. We always had music playing in the house. They tried to get me to play other instruments, and I just fell in love with drums, and that was my primary instrument, though I play others. And I sing. I've always been able to sing. So, it was just kind of
and a singer.
It's born to do a thing. I have perfect pitch, without knowing it. Like, who knew that? So,
awesome.
No, it's
Skill
not.
Sets.
It's not when you have to listen to other people sing. You want to
I understand. That's fair.
brains out. Yeah, very bad. Oh, yeah, yeah. So I can hear every note when it's wrong.
That must drive you nuts when
It's
they're famous
disheartening.
and you're like, they're way off.
Yeah, I was listening to The Voice today, and his Spanish guy was,
Terrible. It's
and
hard.
oh Lord, he was so off. But I have a young man
Lord.
in my theater company who's got the ear that I have. Is we sit together at karaoke and go, oh, oh. So, and then we rejoice when someone sings well.
Great.
Yeah.
My
We love it.
father-in-law
Yeah.
sings and plays the piano, but he did not give that to my husband. So I get what you're saying about the Italian, like it's in there. That's pretty awesome.
It's in there. Yeah, like Irish people could just pick up a ukulele, I guess. You go to a pub and everybody in the pub sing, and they all can sing. It's so cool. Yeah.
All right. So Lil, sorry, Mo, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So Lil, could you just kind of list out what you do now? And I want to kind of pick apart how you touched on how you got into publishing. I understand that, but you do a lot of things.
Right. So in my company, I'm the CEO of all three of the companies that all work together now. I have a third one now, but I am the primary ghostwriter. I try to have other people ghostwrite, and then the clients are like, no, I want you. Like, great. So I typically only ghostwrite about 3 or 4 books at most a year because it's a big endeavor. It means me writing all the writing. I do a lot of book coaching. Have you met yet Big Mike? He's writing a book. He was a cop as well, 30 years, got hurt on the job. Mike's a good example. He's writing. He sends me his stuff. I keep him moving, and I rewrite, copy edit, and fix his mistakes, et cetera, just clean it up and then send it back. I do a lot of that, working with people who need a kick in the butt sometimes, so they need to be a handheld. Come on, you got this. Let's go. And I do a lot of that. I do a lot of copy editing, making the book really good. Then it goes to Kristen, who does the proofreading, because God knows I don't know where the commas go. Don't ask me. I don't know. So that's Kristen's lot in life, is to follow me after that, get everything cleaned up. So I do a lot of that. I do a lot of project management. We have obviously clients like you, Ty, who have a book, they want a website, they need all this other stuff, and they don't know how to do things. I had an Italian lady today who's doing her book, and she's trying to set up her Ingram Spark account and thought she meant SiteGround for her hosting, and she's like, but I talked to the tech, and I'm like, where? She said Ingram Spark. There's no phone number. How did you magically call them? And she was like, site, the ground of sites. And I'm like, no, honey, no. So I fix a lot of shit like that on a daily basis. Yeah. One lady today had not enabled her book for distribution when she approved it in Ingram Spark. She hit the wrong button, Bo. And so she was like, but my book's not on Amazon and it's not anywhere. And I went to look, it wasn't on Barnes & Noble either. And I went,
we're missing something.
Quick. By tomorrow.
So great.
That's a lot of my day.
There.
Fixing stuff from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night that is broken. Do a lot of that. And then I work with entrepreneurs, with Newpreneurship. I work with them, getting that together. Websites, I work with, here, Becky, this is what you need to do, and get it done. So that's kind of what I do.
Well, hold on, you're leaving out. You also do playwright or
for fun, yeah. For no money.
Well, I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah. Maybe not.
Ain't nobody gonna pay me for that, no, brother.
I want to dive into that pretty deep. So let's hang on that one, because we want to talk about that. That seems, that's interesting. I want to. When you said ghostwrite about
15 years ago as well, I never wrote a play. I got a kick in my head to do it, and last year I won the best stage reading of a play. We produced it this year. My play, I run the playwriting workshop at my theater, and that's been going really well. Our playwrights are doing quite well. They're all over the place. Brian's going back to New York with 2 of his plays this weekend. They got accepted into things, and I created the New Works Festival last year at my theater. We have a big theater. We have 390 seats in our big theater and 160 in the small one. So we utilize the small theater, and we put together 10 short plays and a couple of full-length plays, and we're going to do the same thing next year, even more. So next year I'll do a musical as well. So it's going to be fun. All brand new. Nobody's ever heard of me before. All brand new stuff. So the musical.
Well, you see how she says that's just a hobby for fun, but it's to me that's another job.
She's throwing out so many things, and I'm writing questions down, and I'm just like, wait a minute, you got a lot going on, Lil.
I can talk for an hour.
You got a lot.
Well, I know
so when you say you ghostwrite 3 books, is there a specific type of book that you ghostwrite, or is it just fiction, nonfiction across the board?
Yes. Money first. Yeah. Money talks.
Fair.
Baby.
Yes. People say, don't you feel bad when their name's on the book and your name just says editor? And I'm like, not when I cash the check.
Oh,
Yeah,
boom.
it's not cheap. So, and I'm cheap compared to most ghostwriters. I know people charge 100, 150 bucks, thousand, but it means I'm writing the whole book. I interview them and I do all the writing. They never touch the keyboard. I take care of it. That makes
It's
sense?
wild. Do they give you the idea or like, hey, I want to write a book about this, but I want you to write? I mean, that's not, it sounds crazy to me to say, I want to be a writer. Can you write this book for me? So I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
Happens a lot.
So there's really kind of two scenarios. Usually they're business books or business memoirs most of the time. People with a lot of money. I have another entire industry tie that I'm wrapped into, which is the childcare industry. People who own childcare facilities have gotten in hold of me and I'm their little pet ghostwriter, and they pawn me off to each other one at a time. But they don't have time. They're dealing with childcare centers. One of them owns 10, one used to own 20 of them. And they want to write books about that experience. So I interview them. They give me blog posts that they've written. They give me material, something to go research, and I piece it all together and make a book. I record their interviews so I'm working with a doctor right now who, her beginning of her life, she was 6 months old when her mom and dad split. Mom was a drug addict, and thank God for the neighbor or she'd be dead. She was left on the floor at 6 months old in the house. The mother took everything but her, everything else. The neighbor heard a baby crying 3 days later and saved her life. She's today she's a doctor. She's amazing. So we're finishing her book. That's pretty good idea. That's a mem. Other people, it's mostly business. And funny story. I've written now several fiction books basically from scratch. One of them is called The Rose Diary. The Rose Diary was an idea a guy had. He had basically a log line for film. This is what I wanted to kind of be about. No idea how to make the story happen. I had 5 weeks to write it. And I wrote 53 in 5 weeks. And it was a bestseller on Audible. Really great book. And then I left it hanging. And I had to write the second book, which was the wrap up, which was the final chapters of The Rose Diary, which was another 50,000 words. So that I wrote in about 10 weeks. And I'm going to steal that because my name is on that one as a writer. So I'm going to take that character someday when I retire and write the story about her. She's a ghost whisperer, basically. She talks to ghosts, and the way she talks to them is very unique. So that one I wrote from scratch. I had no ideas. I just kind of ran with it. And I've written about 4 or 5 other fiction books that way, where they had an idea and they had a concept. They really didn't have an idea. They didn't have any plan. They didn't have an outline or what is this really going to be about? Here's the basic idea. Like you would if you said you're doing a film. You got in the elevator, you got 30 seconds to tell, some producer what the film's about. That's what I had to work with.
I think you realize, Lil, because this is your wheelhouse. As people who, I always feel like cops are very black and white. We want to have all the things kind of, but if somebody threw on my lap and said, hey, I need a book in 5 weeks and I need 50,000 words, I'd be like, I don't get anxiety. I can go into people shooting and I'm like, let's go. That I'd be like, okay, I'm sweating. So you throw that out like it's no big deal, but that is incredible to, hey, I have this idea. Can you write a book in 5 weeks that has 50,000 words and make it a bestseller? Thanks.
That's all I did for 5 weeks. I didn't do anything else.
Fair enough.
I'll write anybody else's stories.
There.
All he had was the idea that the older sister had died, and she was like 17, 18. The younger sister, about 14, she found a diary that was her sister's after she died, and the sister began writing to her from the grave saying that she had been murdered. That was it. That was it, Chief.
That sounds like an interesting book.
No idea why she was murdered. Who murdered her? What the motive was for murdering. So it was a challenge. It was interesting.
I love that. Be like, Mo, I have this idea. And then be like, boom, write me a book. And then it's a bestseller.
Bestseller, just like that. So the ghostwriting is one aspect. Then you do the book coaching. And I understand the idea of the coaching because you're taking people who are business people and you're coaching them through putting together their ideas because they're not the creatives, really. They are kind of getting you to help them put their ideas together. That one kind of makes sense. I can wrap my head around that and the project management portion of it. When I was digging and looking into you, I found a lot of the professional side of it. What I didn't recognize was that there is such a business for it. Like when you threw out just then with the childcare, with law enforcement, with these people who are in these very specific fields, and then you're guiding them to navigate through this. Very interesting. And it's interesting how you're getting tied into these communities. How did that jump off that certain communities kind of gravitated? Was it just one person and then it grew?
I have no idea. To be honest with you, Okay, there was one named Summer Pisha. I don't know who introduced me to her. She needed to write a very small book, and I helped her write the book. I just basically coached her. She introduced me to Julie, who introduced me to Rachel, who introduced me to what's her name? Australia. So now they introduced me to each other. I've done all those guys' books, and then I've coached the person who does their insurance, the person who does their marketing. They've written all these books, and somehow or another, one of them tells the other one about how great things are. Right now, we're working on AK's book. AK DeSanti. She's going to have her book up probably by the end of the weekend. She was I think a Doug, but I'm not sure. But I don't know how I got Doug.
So.
If you ask me who the root of these things are, I don't know. I don't have time to remember. I'm just grateful to God that they show up. And I think Doug is just a hell of a nice guy. He keeps introducing me to people, and we rescued somebody told him we knew what we were doing, and I think actually Jason told him that, and we fixed something that was a minor thing. It was not a big deal, and we charged him next to nothing, which is why he loved us. And I always try to give you guys Tyler, Mo, gave me such a job. It's like, it was just, I said, what are we doing here? Like, it took me hours and hours to comb through the interview and just make it, make sense. But I love him.
I've known him for a long time, so I know what you had to manage. And me and my sister worked with Tyler as well, and we affectionately call Tyler, he's our free-range chicken that we're always catch and get into the chicken coop, and we have not succeeded yet.
No one's getting that guy in the chicken coop, but he's a good guy. He's a great guy, and I love what you guys do. Not everybody respects the police, and today, of course, not so much, even worse. But you're dealing with a lot of extraneous stuff. There's nothing to do with that. That's not fair.
Well, and I think that's why, at least I can speak from the cop side of it. For those of us, again, who are in this business, we're not creatives, but being able to latch into somebody who respects what it is that we are doing and then can help us be able to generate a product that is going to be something that other cops are going to pick up. Because I know I read Doug's book, and I know obviously what our book, Street Tales, is about. It's putting out information that's going to help the next generation of cops, or the cops that are still doing the jobs. So I think that's one of the reasons that it has been just a big deal for us to have you be part of our team, essentially.
And I love it. You guys need to write an endorsement for Mike too. Mike was 30 years on the force. Broke, just effed his back up with a very, very overweight lady. She couldn't get up the stairs. He heard that crack. That was it.
Yep.
Done.
Yep.
Done. And he was miserable. Couldn't figure out what was going on with him. And then finally, you heard a podcast that got him, ironically, they got him thinking about how he had never really looked at the stuff that had happened. Like this little girl that they saved her, but she drowned in the pool and she almost died. She's a vegetable in a lot of ways. All these different things started to come back to him. And he wrote a lot of these stories of the things that he's experienced as a police officer and the devastating things that you go through and see on a daily basis. And we all watch things like 911 and Chicago Fire and all that stuff. And yeah, that's great to watch on TV, but that's real. You guys are running into fires. I run away from fires.
Yeah.
I'm a chill, but I see a fire, I'm going that way.
Well, we shoot the fire with bullets, so they're different.
Yeah, you shoot the fire. What I'm saying, I'm not running into a fist fight or a gunfight. I'm not going to do that. That's what you do. I sit here nice at my computer. And I respect it. Sure, sometimes you screw up. I'm not going to argue. It's a lot of times.
But see, that's the point. It's admitting
for no reason. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of guys that just, but you're scared and something happens. There was a woman who got the hell blown out of her because she had a pot of hot water on her. And that's going to be a big case. And this that has to happen with the things that go on with you, that triggering of, oh no, I'm not going down. You can't negate that. You can't say, well, I've done all these wonderful things and then something happens and I mess up. Yeah, well, we all mess up, dude. That's what
and to your point, Lil, that's the one thing we try to emphasize on here. We try to always talk about the good and the bad, but you have to own it. And this happened and it was a mistake, but maybe not to excuse it. We do a terrible job at addressing it when it happens. We just, a lot of cop agencies and stuff, they circle the wagons, all these things. But back to what you were talking about for law enforcement, especially, Lil, when they find somebody that they trust, one, very difficult, but once that's happened, they trust hard, meaning like they fully will trust. Here's all my stuff. I trust you implicitly until you give them a reason not to. So again, back to my point, you are a straight shooter. And I wasn't necessarily meaning for this podcast to just be, me, giving you your flowers, as BJ would say, but it's appreciated. And I just want to highlight those things. I do want to get to the new entrepreneurship stuff, but can we just touch on the playwright stuff? Because to me, that's also fascinating. And little tie-in, I was a football player theater kid in middle school and some parts of high school, not towards my senior. So I've always enjoyed it, but it seems like such a dichotomy nowadays. But listening to you talk about it and your passion for it and what you guys are doing, it's kind of reawakened that into me because I've always enjoyed it, right?
It's so interesting. We need more guys. This year I am tasked with, men have a thing, like a lot of guys don't want to be a theater. I'm doing a play. I'm directing a play called The Front Page, which was also known, you might remember Rosalind Russell and Cary Grant in His Girl Friday. It's the same story. It's about a guy who was arrested. I think he shot a cop or something, actually, but he escapes and they have to hide him. It's a whole big thing. There's 25 people on this, and about 20 of them are men. We're also doing 1776 right before that, and Assassins right before that, which are almost all men. Well, where are we going to find these guys? You got to be kidding me. Now, fortunately, that happens to be what we call public domain, which means I can make changes. There's no royalties. It's like Shakespeare. So I'm going to make some of the women be reporters. Some of the reporters be women, I should say. Yeah. There's a bunch of reporters, and they're sitting around, waiting for this guy to get hung, basically. So, but it's difficult to get guys sometimes to come out. And this one little fella named Richard, I actually make jokes, but I am proud of being partly Polish. He's a little Polish and French guy, and he went out and he copied the whole play for me and made a note. He wants to be like, you have a part. It doesn't matter if you're in. You're in.
You're in. You're in, brother.
Male and breathing. Yes, good. You're in. I've taught acting so long that I know that the worst case scenario is if a guy comes in and he's not perfect, I'll get him there. I don't just direct. When I direct, I teach acting while I'm going. I directed Cabaret last year. I did not mean to. I went to help opposite. No, really, true story. Hey, I didn't mean to. I went because I was asked to listen to the singers because the guy directing it apparently had a tin ear. And I'm like, great, he's going to direct the musical. A little crazy guy. And he quit. After the 3 auditions, he went, I can't do this. It's not possible. And I wound up having to direct this play. And I loved it. It was fun, but yeah, it was crazy. So the writing part of it, though, I love writing dialogue, which is very helpful when you're writing books. Even if you're writing a memoir or a business book, I train all of my writers to put in some dialogue. Like in his book, lots of dialogue between him and the other cops or him and the person. It's much more exciting and interesting than listening to blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, and oddly enough, I have a new police officer. No, I'm sorry. She's military, not police officer. I do a lot of military too. 37 years in military, and we're working on her book next.
Wow.
Yeah. Really cool lady. Absolutely adorable.
Amazing.
Beautiful, beautiful woman. She's really neat as hell. But that's, I don't know. I love playwriting. I love teaching playwriting. I love the fun of it. And we work on little plays and big plays. And it's very helpful in writing in general. Because if you're going to write a book, guys, any of you are listening and thinking about writing a book, you got to get some dialogue between you and people. Even if you're making it up, like may not remember what your mom said 30 years ago, but she's probably dead. And even if she isn't, she doesn't remember either. So
yeah, she doesn't remember. Like, I said that. Yeah,
did I? Oh yeah, I said that. You did. You got to put it in there, and that's where the playwriting is very helpful in that regard.
That's very cool. When I read that about you, that you were a playwright, I was like, ooh, because I love theater. I dragged my husband to the theater with me. He's like, I don't understand it. I just love it. And that's just super interesting to have somebody with that background too. You just have all these layers, I will definitely say. Yeah. But I understand now when you explain there that understanding the value of dialogue, it bleeds right into what it is that you do. That's amazing.
And I
want to go back to
theater system 13 like you. I mean, I would go see theater because I just enjoy it.
So good. Yeah. I love seeing I took my husband, we went to New York. I was like, we have to go see something. So he's like, okay, Phantom of the Opera. I can do that. I was like, great, let's go.
I got tickets to it when it first came out. I went the day the tickets went on sale. And the tickets I was able to get were 9 months later. That's how long they were sold out for 9 months. I'm serious. The day I went, I wasn't able to get a seat for almost 9 months. That's how.
But it was amazing when you did, wasn't it?
The Book of Mormon, it was like that. Understand? You couldn't get tickets for that for months and months.
Wild.
we're going to see Come From Away in February. My whole crew.
Ooh.
At a local theater that's professional theater, and that's a story of when 9/11 happened. The planes landed in Nova Scotia, and these people had to be taken care of. And the people of Nova Scotia just went to town on it. They put them in housing and they got them clothes, and they were stuck there for like a week. And it's a brilliant, brilliant play. If you ever get to see it, it's a musical, really interesting.
It's cool.
Maybe like 20 people play like 100 and some odd people altogether. They just keep changing characters and changing voices and changing costumes, and it's really neat. It's really, really neat.
I think that would be so much fun. But Lil, talking to you, actually, my daughter has now gone to see Great Gatsby and Moulin Rouge. So, I mean, these are more like poppy modern. I don't know what you would call them.
Great.
They speak to her. She's a teenager, but it's like, you know what? We gotta grow this a little bit. We gotta expand on your horizon. Because anyway, she loved it too, by the way. So I think she's a fan. I got her hooked.
Good.
Before we get off of it, I want to ask, because she threw this little nugget out like it was no big deal, that she created a festival that was brand new. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, we had a fight with we have a very old board. Like they're Asian.
Yep.
And maybe we'll do that. I don't know. So anyway, Brian, I'll tell you about Brian in a minute. Brian is our lawyer, pro bono. We said we're doing this. We don't care. We're going to get it done. So Brian wrote a play that we did a staged reading of. Because he's going to eventually do that. He's working on another play. It's fantastic that we're going to do next year. I had a play that I had won an award for the previous year, so we used that play because we were also going to do a production of it elsewhere. So we had our playwrights worked on short plays, little 10-minute plays. And so we did Friday night, we did the 10-minute plays, and on Sunday matinee, we did the 10-minute plays. And on Saturday, we did the his stage reading in the afternoon and my play at night. And we had an all-access pass. People could pay for $35, go to everything. And then we had our improv troupe, which I also, by the way, started the improv troupe. Yeah, okay. I hear it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just throw these things out, but you're always doing stuff.
Yeah, well, I do. So I love improv. So I teach the improv also. So the improv troupe, we had an improv battle. 2 other improv troupes came, and we had the absolute blast. We had like 25 people on stage and improv together. That was Saturday afternoon. We had food trucks outside. And then on Sunday, we did show tune karaoke before the show. And we packed the room. We had 50 people come in, everybody singing. Many of them could really sing. We have a set of twins. They're 37 years old, absolute twins. And they sang a song from Wicked together that they've been doing since high school. Perfect harmony. It was absolutely out of this world. It was the Loathing song. They did the Loathing song. It was absolutely fantastic.
I love it.
So, yeah, it was really cool.
That's one of my favorite.
One of our guys can sing it also. He did Tequila. His wife sang it.
Yeah. That's what
but he missed his cue. Apparently, missed it. He didn't get to say Tequila very well. I missed that. Damn it. Yeah, so we had all kinds of fun stuff going on, food trucks and all kinds of crazy things. So Brian and I set the whole thing up, and we got everybody to come. We had a really good turnout. We made a bunch of money for the theater, and I think next year they'll let us do it again. If they won't, we'll do it somewhere else because we're doing it.
I was going to say.
We want to do 2 weekends or a longer weekend, like Thursday through Sunday. We'll see. We're trying to talk them into a little extra this next year. But we're already
Mo's
working
got 5 acres, so.
Oh, God, it's gorgeous. We have about 400 parking spaces. We have 400 seats in the main theater. So it's really, we can do anything. But
it's awesome.
Yeah, it is really cool. But yeah, so Brian wrote a book called Negligence Assemble, and he published it himself last year. It was a series of blogs on how the law the lawyer that he is personal injury, and how that intersects with superheroes, because he's a big superhero fan. So basically, Superman fixes the problem, he saves the day, and then trashes the whole town. Who is paying for Todd's house and Todd's car and Todd's coffee shop and Todd's refrigerator? And Marlene, Todd's lawyer, will be suing everyone. So we are literally filming court scenes, commercials for Liberty Mutant Insurance, which we have a theme song for now.
So good.
We are putting together phone numbers that they can call, and the book is going to be incredibly interactive. So you will have QR codes in the book where you can click on the QR code and watch a film on YouTube of the court cases and stuff. So we filmed about 7 vignettes on Wednesday. We're doing the rest on Saturday and Wednesday again. And by the end of next week, we'll have all of it being edited. And we have comic strips being built for series. So it's going to be the book to beat, man.
Well, now you're giving me ideas for book 2, Lil, so get ready. Book two, we got vignettes. I'm ready. Now we're doing videos.
It's so cool. Why not? You can, what I told you, that we got the podcast, right? You connect your podcast with the QR codes. QR codes have changed a lot of things because we put them in books all the time now. And it's really a cool thing. But this is different. So
yeah, no, let me say this, because the QR codes was your idea and I appreciate it. It is actually one of the standout features of the book. Everyone's like, bro, this is a great idea. And I've had a lot of feedback from people who bought it, listeners and things like that. They're like, what a great idea. So I hear what you're saying, that like, I guess you're doing that a lot, but I guess it's not made it out to the masses, because everyone's like, this is such a unique, great idea. And now with what you're talking about, I'm like, now you got the juices flowing, Lil. I'm like, ooh, book number two.
We have a 72-year-old woman who dressed like Flo, but not Flo.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
To do her Liberty Mutants commercials.
I love it.
Yeah, my improv troops, they're wonderful. And they just came and we knocked it all out, a whole bunch of it out. And then we're going to do like these little court cases and stuff. And they're all short. They're all going to be they're like as little as a minute. But I think it's so cool that you can click on that. It comes from the fact that years ago, we did a book called Cappy's Book with my ex. And Sean Stewart was a New York Times bestseller. Before QR codes were workable, we didn't do that. We put in websites. We put in like cool stuff in there. We actually had a sleeve in the book with a bunch of cool stuff in it, and the phone numbers. If you call the phone number today in the book, you can still get the answering service. So I said, we should do that with this, because Ryan's been going to Comic-Cons and he's eating them up. They just love him. They want him at every Comic-Con. And he filled the room with kids who wanted to understand where this works. What do I do if Superman trashes my car? But his brother is playing Todd.
Right.
And he's a sweet guy, good guy. But we took pictures of him, stills of him he's all wrapped in bandages, sleeves. He's got the slings on. And I'm making T-shirts that say "Justice for Todd."
That is great.
I know.
That's so good.
I love that part. And there's parts where the whole cast goes, "Justice for Todd, Justice for Todd."
Yeah.
Justice for Todd. That'll be cool. There's voiceovers. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. It's really going to be neat. Very visual book. Really neat. Very interactive.
That's what I think what is unique about you, Lil, is that when people bring a book idea to you, you can see it going beyond just being that book. Yeah. There's all these different places that you seem to take it. Like Tyler said, even with the Street Tales book, adding the QR codes was such a layer that had never been in as far as people are saying, in podcasting and book creating, which was great. And then this is a whole nother idea that you're creating merchandise and shirts and all these things to kind of go along with it. So having that vision is just really, really neat.
Thanks. And it's not all me. I always have a great staff. I mean, they're wonderful. Christina does all of Jason's all his shirt designs and everything. She could do that. We have several people that have shirt designs and different things and inspirational T-shirts and stuff like that. And, buying books in multiples and all that sort of thing. We try to be a little different. I think we're very different. Well, for one thing, we're quicker than most people.
Yes, very responsive.
Very responsive. Somebody, they say, how do you do it? Well, I answer my email. I answer my phone. I have to. Tyler will text me and he'll tell you. It's very rare when I don't get it right back to him. So,
absolutely.
Very true.
Before we move into the entrepreneur side of what you're doing, I wanted to go back because one question that struck me is you said I work with a lot of military, you work with a lot of law enforcement. So you're reading their stories. No, you're not living them, but we're finding now with us talking to people we hadn't thought about that are affected by what happens in the law enforcement professional's life. They have effects as well, whether we're talking about their children or the communications people or those kind of things. Reading those stories, are there ever times where you're internalizing or you're going, oh, this was a lot?
With the police, I think I do watch a lot of I've watched almost all of 911. I love Chicago Fire. I'm addicted to that. I think just watching that has probably desensitized me to some degree. But I'll tell you one thing I'm working on right now. I'm working on a book right now called My Parents Were Pedophiles. And Lisa's.
We had her on the show.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's rough.
I'm not triggered by it, but it's tough to listen to all the things that have happened, to listen in my head. It shows you how crazy I am. I'm listening. I know, I can hear the words. And it is really, her story is difficult. I'm not going to lie. That's a tough one. That poor thing. I mean, what it really makes you wonder what the hell people are thinking when they have children and to do something like this. But yeah, but I will tell you, I wrote a book, and again, from my head, woman I knew from the Rose Diary, the boss of the guy who wrote Rose Diary, I wrote it for him. She wanted to write a book about an experience that happened to her in 1978 when she was in high school. One of her friends from high school was raped and murdered by a serial killer who came into town. One of the five that was, and one of their boyfriends was raped and murdered. Well, he didn't rape the boy. I don't think he just killed him. And she said, I want to write a story. And she had started to write a screenplay about it. And she had about 5 or 6 pages of a screenplay, which I then took, rewrote, and wrote the entire story of this guy out of my crazy head. And occasionally I'd call my girlfriend and say, don't talk to me. I'm nuts. I'm writing rape and murder scenes. And like there's something really wrong with me to be able to write this. Yeah, and it's brutal. I'm not going to lie. But I took what little bit I knew, and I wrote what would build a serial killer. How would this guy be this broken, and why? And what he did. And the first murder that he creates is horrific. I mean, absolutely horrific. I think it's brilliant, but we haven't got it to where it needs to be. It's called Warm Bodies, Morgan City 78. And the reason it's called Warm Bodies instead of Cold Bodies is because the reason this happened was in 1978 in Louisiana, oil industry was so desperate for help, they never checked who he was. Any warm body that walked in and said they could drill or they could do welding or what have you, they hired. And they didn't realize who they had hired. This guy had been serial killing from California out, even murdering people. They never checked his back. So Warm Bodies, Morgan City 78, and it's a killer book. It really is neat.
So wild, Lil. See, that's what I'm saying. You're tapping into things. And let me just say this. I want to get to the entrepreneur thing, but I'm just fascinated. I'm a fan of yours, obviously, Lil. But you also, so Mo, listen to everything she's saying, but she'll also write, and I'm not asking you to talk through if they're not out yet, but she'll also write like super scientific, like from doctors that really want to write like a medical type book. And she's like terminologies and all that, like super scientific. Just the scope and breadth of the work that you and your team do. You would throw these little things out there in our conversations, and I would write them down. I'm like, dude, this is just wild. All the things you do. So, because I knew at some point you'd be coming on the show. Lil, I had to have you because you're such a fascinating individual. And like I said, the question is this: how do you just present? Do you just tackle each project in its own way, or do you just bring in experiences from all the vast amount of things you've been doing?
Well, it's a little of both. I mean, I'm not a kid, obviously. I'm a little older than you all. But I will say this. If you don't want to research, don't become a writer. Don't even think.
That's fair. That's actually very fair.
And I tell people that all the time. With the serial killer guy, I moved him across the country. I had to research roads. I wrote a book about a woman who had multiple personalities, and I had to research into that. A fiction book. I had a book that I had to rewrite about these people work for like world hunger and stuff like that. And I had to figure, they thought they could get a cruise ship, not a cruise ship, but a destroyer or whatever. It's a cargo ship from Russia to Panama in 3 days. I'm like,
that's not a thing.
No.
Oh, no.
How do we actually get that thing that they wanted moved? How do we actually figure that out? And I figured out a way to have it done. But you have to research, you have to think. Medical books, I've written on functional medicine, knew nothing about that. LED lighting, knew nothing about that. But you have to say, well, what's this about? What do I need to write about? How do I find the information I actually need? And then you have to be willing to Google and Wikipedia or whatever the hell you need to find the answers. And you have to want to research. If you don't want to research, you're not going to get through far.
That's why I was curious as to how these things affect you, because you're really dumping a lot of yourself into whatever it is you're writing.
But even more so, you have to sound like them. Sometimes I want to correct the English in a certain way or say it in a different way, and it's not going to sound like that person. You have to let them be who they are. And we do a lot of memoir, whole lot of memoirs.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into the new entrepreneurship, because I'm also. Let me just give you my tie-in. I'm not going to speak for you, but this is something. So many of my personal friends, cops that are retiring, professional individuals that are interested in starting their own business. And I get asked this a lot. And let me explain. I've had to ask these questions to other people that have businesses. They just have no clue where to even begin. And so when you were saying, hey, this is what I'm doing, I was like, I want to talk about this. I want to help you. I want to push it. I want to get it out there. That's my pitch. But can you talk through what it is you're doing and what it looks like?
Maybe I can explain it the best way. I did it on my own website. If you go to Newpreneurship, there's a video that explains this very thing. My mom died in her early 60s. She was a guidance director at a school. She thought she was going to be the assistant superintendent. She got beat out by her arch enemy, the school nurse, who knew absolutely nothing. And she hated her. God knows she hated her guts. And she was so despondent that she quit on a dime at 60 and started smoking cigarettes again and put herself in an early grave. She didn't have a plan. She really did. She messed around with real estate a little, things that I was doing. She followed me around a little, but she couldn't really do anything. She had no idea, no plan. And I think had she had a plan and something else she could have stepped into, if you're a police officer, if you're a firefighter, if you're a nurse, if you're an EMT, teachers, military, you can't do this forever. There's going to be a day when you turn around and go, I am too old to be in these shoes, running after that guy down the street. Most like, oh, go. No, screw you. I'm going to chase your ass. You got to be a point where you say, that's enough, right? I'm too old for this shit. It's one of my logos, one of my but I'm not done. I'm just done with this. I'm not done. I'm not done living, right? I had a woman stand up at a meeting once and say, I'm not done yet. She was 60-something years old, and she wrote a couple of books. One of them called Rounding the Curves. It's beautiful. But you're not done. And some kids come out of college going, I'm not going to get into corporate jobs. I hate this. What corporate jobs? I go to a meeting every Tuesday morning with people like this that are waiting years, 6 months, 3 months, 5 months. They can't find a job. They're over 50. There's no jobs for them. So it's over. Whatever's happening right now in our economy, it's done, and it's not going to change soon. So, but what do you not know? You don't know what you don't know. You never owned a business. You never ran a business. What the hell do you know about networking? Or if I say value proposition, your eyes might glaze over. If I say mission statement, you're like, what do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how to make a business plan. I don't know whether I should or should not have a website. I don't know what social media to have or not have. I don't even know what I should be doing. So Tyler, you were a police officer. You've done all these things, right? But you also like the theater. So suppose you said, I'm going to start a whole coaching business teaching people in the military how to teach their kids to be involved in something besides the military.
Yeah.
Right? What can we put together that no one had thought about? I did this for 20 years, 30 years, but I love these three things. I love knitting. Maybe I can figure a way to coach somebody from this to that. So what I do is I work with people and say, okay, what are you good at? What have you been doing? What do you got skills at? What could you make? The questions I always ask: who's going to pay attention to you? Why should they pay attention to you? How can you become a coach or a consultant and make $200 or $300 an hour doing what you should be doing? Right? That's what we work on. So Newpreneurship has 3 stages. One for people who are thinking I might eventually be retiring, or I don't want to do corporate anymore, or whatever. And for basically $97, they can take a do-it-yourself course. It's 8 videos of me talking to them, encouraging them. And a 6-module workbook. It's pretty short. They can run through to give them some pretty good ideas of what some of those things I was just talking about. What does it mean to have value proposition, right? What does network mean? Where am I supposed to do that? So that's a do-it-yourself program. If they go to my website and put in the word webinar and set up 147, they get it for $97. Go play with it. See if you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it, right? But I'm going to be starting my With Me course in January. And it's three months, every other week for about an hour and change, much bigger workbook that they'll get. And they get me to work with them module by module. So we'll do a different module of the 6 modules. Every other week we do one, right? So by the end of the 3 months, they have gone through the whole book with me. They've had time with a group of maybe 8 or 10 people, however many, I hope at least that many. And then I will have an open office hours. They can come and ask me personal questions once a week, and they'll join our Facebook group where they stay for life. So once they start to do things, they can go back in the Facebook group and ask questions of other entrepreneurs like themselves. So that's another program that I'm doing. And that program is $1,500 up front. If you're a first responder, it's $997. So $1,000 for the whole thing. So all they got to do is write to me and say, I want to be that. I know Tyler. I want to do this. I got a grant to give you, and we'll do this thing. And that's what I'm doing with the first responders. I'm saying $1,000, basically $997, because it sounds better.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to get that word out on that. That'll start the first week in January, and we do that until we're done. Three months of that. I think it's a really valuable way to start to figure out. By the end of 90 days, you've got a pretty good idea if you should even start a business, and if you are going to, you've got a leg up on what that is going to entail? What does that mean? What do I need to do? What kind of coach? What kind of consultant? What kind of small business? Okay, if you want to make candles, you still need to know. You want to be a Mary Kay lady or own a franchise. You know how to do the things you don't know how to do. So I've been doing this since I'm pretty much 17 years old. So I almost never worked for anybody.
Lil, let me touch on this. There's so much bullshit on the on the internet, social media. Mo and I talked. I've been dealing with it myself because I get flooded with, we want to help you market your podcast and your show, and it's just scam shit, and they just want to take your money and they're not going to do anything with it. There's a lot of that, or it's like all these courses where you're like, why am I paying this person money? So let's move past the scam stuff. The other part of it, and this is what I really found interesting and intriguing. You get a lot of these, start your own company stuff from like CEOs of Fortune 500 companies that, ran, billions of dollars of product. It's like, from me retiring, doing 20, 30 years of law enforcement, okay, I'm going to read this CEO Fortune 500 company. One, I don't have the energy for that. Two, that might not be, that's such a large scale scope thing, which, listen, if somebody starts one, great, I'm happy for it. But it doesn't have to be that. Here you have been doing this for your whole life. You've sustained your lifestyle and you do what you love, and you've been successful at it. And to your point, I know for you, you're just like, oh yeah, I've just been doing this for the whole time. It's a little intimidating sometimes, to be honest with you, to think about the things you're talking about and doing it for the first time. But to have somebody that, one, you can trust, two, who's been doing it, and three, it's scalable. It's something, it's something you can actually achieve, and it takes time, and to have someone to spend time with you and do that is phenomenal. The other thing is this. It's like, hey, you spend $1,000, you might not even be like, hey, I'm not ready to start a business. Let me tell you something. That will save you thousands of dollars.
Yeah. There's no one doing what I'm doing for less than $5,000 that I know of. Not one. Well, I've met with people. I've spent some money here and there, but I've seen speaking coaches that charge $35,000, $40,000 for a year's program with more, depending on what level you're at. $100,000. People spent. I met a guy the other day. He spent $150,000 in less than a year, and he hadn't done the thing. He hadn't followed any of the things they asked him to do. It was his own fault. But even if he had, he wasn't going to make that $1.50 back.
No,
it would take him years to make that back. Here's the thing: you don't have to quit your job. You don't have to quit being a policeman.
That's great.
I look at it this way. I love boating. I've almost always owned a boat. It's the first time in a while I haven't, because I sink them a lot, but let's not talk about it. Don't suffer with a boat, but I do love them.
Never mind.
Yeah.
You're in a boat, right? Picture it this way. You're in a boat, right? Mo, you're in a boat, right? You're a cop.
Yes.
Okay. Here's my boat. I'm pedaling along. I'm in a boat. Okay. And the boat, you are sick of this boat, or the boat is sick of you. And sorry, there's a hole in the boat. Oh my goodness. I'm good. They want me to retire next year, or
something goes.
I want out of this fucking boat. I want out of this boat. Build the boat over here. Start building the boat on the shore. Get ready.
Yes.
As soon as that boat's about to sink, hop off, jump in this boat. So it doesn't mean you can't have both boats going at once, right? So it's no problem starting a side hustle of a small business of any nature, even coaching, where you say, you know what, I'm only available in the evenings or on Tuesdays. That's my day off. Nobody has to know you have another job. I have one coach who's doing no shit. She's doing Uber, but she's got clients now. She has clients. So at night and on Saturday, she meets her clients, or when she's not Uber driving to make money because she has a kid and a house and a mortgage, she has to have a job. You don't have to quit your job to start a business. It's stupid to do that. I won't let you do it. If you have a job and you're not ready, we will help you build a thing and maybe get a couple of clients and then get a couple more. And then when you reach, and many of my clients could tell you that story, when you reach that point where you go, hey, one of our clients is a 7-figure earner, 7 million, easily millions of dollars. She was working for her brother at a factory that they owned, the family owned, and she started coaching. She's never owned a childcare facility in her life, but she started realizing that they needed coaching on how to market themselves. And it took her about 2 or 3 years. But once I make I think she said like $5,000 a month or something, I'm quitting and I'm doing
wow.
this.
Yeah.
Now she actually makes $5,000 an hour. I mean, she makes ridiculous, ludicrous money. And she's wonderful, absolutely fantastic human being. Dumped her husband, getting married this year. Yeah. He was her business partner and it did not work out so good. She has a great story. We told her whole story in her book. It's a great book, and she's very honest, but she knows her shit, boy. And the companies that work with her, they've tripled and quadrupled their business with her marketing plans. And she has conferences she's built, and she's took it from this little thing of coaching half a dozen people making $5K a month to $50K a month now. Seriously, I mean that kind of thing. And yeah, but she didn't start there. She kept her job. She kept her job, and she did.
Let me touch on this. Let me touch on this, Lil. Because you brought it up, and I want to drive the point home. You've already said I start answering my phone or my emails from 8 in the morning, sometimes till 8 at night, and sometimes beyond, depending on what the situation arises. Meaning, it takes a lot of fucking work. And I try to tell people that too. They're like, "Oh, bro, you're doing all this stuff. It must be nice." I'm like, I work my full-time job during the day, and then I'm either recording, writing, website stuff, or if I'm not doing any of that and the editing and all the other stuff, I'm then either reading or learning or watching so I can make it better. Meaning I get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm usually not back. I usually, my head doesn't hit the pillow till 10, sometimes 11 o'clock at night. I've got a couple guys that like to record late, but anywho, it's a lot of fucking work. And so I just want to drive the point. I'll let you say it in your own words. It doesn't, just because you have a plan, it doesn't mean it's just going to be easy. It takes fucking work. Yeah, I know. I love your face. I just want to hear you say it though.
Entrepreneurs only work a half a day. Is it from 8 a.m. to 8 in the morning, or from 8 in the morning to 8 at Right.
Right. Yeah.
No, I've been a musician my whole life. I've been a theater person. Don't ask me to do anything before 9 in the morning. I will be in fact, 9 pisses me off. If you want to talk to me, wait till 9:30. I have people texting me at 8 o'clock. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. No, I don't tell you what. At midnight, I'm still on the phone. I've also got clients all over the world. So you have to remember.
Yes, and you've created a life that suits you, though, and that's what I'm trying to say.
I want to go to the beach tomorrow. I will go to the beach. I can do what I want the days I want, but if I go to the beach on Saturday, I work on Sunday. You know what I mean? I'm editing 4 books right now. I have no time for this bullshit, right? But when it comes to like creating the schedule you want, yes, I can take this laptop and go sit anywhere. I can get in my RV. I'm about to buy a new RV next year. This thing, my dog and I will get in the RV and we're going to go where we want to go. Doesn't mean I'm not working. We had a 35-footer. I worked all the way to Utah and all the way back, and for 6 months in that RV and everywhere else. I'm going to buy a small one this time. It was too big. Jesus, that was hard to drive. But no, seriously, like you can go and do what you want, but I hate non-responsive people. I hate when people don't answer an email or they don't, and even my actors. Like I had one wonderful actress show up yesterday to film with us, and she never responded once. She responded to the email. I'm like, but I hope she's going to show up. Showed up. She was fantastic. Yeah. But I'm trying to teach these kids, if we tell you have a job and you don't answer your email, somebody else is going to get that role. Somebody else to get the job, because the directors don't want to call or text you. They want to send you an email, right? So you've got to, okay, Christina, we almost only exclusively talk with Facebook Message. That's a fact. Becky and I almost only talk either on the phone or we talk, emails, obviously, email, but, or we do Google chat. Every single one of my employees has a different mode of communication with me, believe it or not. I don't care. Whatever is comfortable for them, Christina prefers. Sometimes at 1 in the morning, Christina's telling me stuff, because she's up. The kids have gone to bed. She's working on something late. She has 2 small children. She's going to work at midnight if she has to, right? I don't care. If she needs me at midnight, my Australian clients, my New Zealand clients, they're in a different time zone than me. Right now, thank God I don't have them at the moment. But for a long while, I had people in Italy. I had California, though, lots. Calgary, people out, different. I have at least 4 different time zones. I have to work with it. You have to be realistic. Well,
because it's your business. It's your business. You have to do what they want to do. What the WIFM isn't you, buddy. The WIFM is what's in it for me. Is what's in it for them. Okay, that's what WIFM is, not you. It's not what's in it for you. If you look at your clients, if you don't want your clients to succeed, if you do not want to write or publish or work or teach or do anything for the greater good, then go home. Get out of my face. Because this is what we're doing. I ain't going to work with you. The first question I always ask people is, who is going to read your book and get something out of it? I asked you that question. Who's going to read it? Yes,
who's their audience? And what are they going to get out of this book? Because if they're not going to get anything out of it, why are we writing a book? And why in the fuck should they listen to you is my second question. And that's not a pleasant question. But if you don't have an answer to that, like I have been through it. And gotten through it. I've gone through the tsunami and I'm on the other side. Or I have 10 degrees in this and I know my shit, or whatever it is. That's next, right? And then what do you want the book to do for you? What's it going to do? Is it going to get you on stages? Is it going because you're not going to sell millions of copies. Brian's book might, because Comic-Con kids are nuts and they love this shit. And his book might just, no, they do. They're crazy. They're going to put, look, if you're going to get into a Superman costume, there's something a little wrong with you to begin with. But it's certainly, you know, you might be just a little crazy.
Hey, listen, I love Comic-Con, but I hear you.
No, I'm saying, but those guys, I love them too. I'm kidding, because I think it's fun and it's interactive.
No, 100%.
They're having a blast.
Yeah.
But those kind of guys, they eat up this kind of stuff. So that book, he could put that on Amazon. Once a little bit of marketing, he has some money to market it. That could sell 1 million copies without any trouble. But most people, that's not true. You know, you gotta use your book for your greater good and for their greater good. And where can I go with this thing? And who can I teach? And who can I inspire? You know, and the same thing applies if you're going to start fitness. Who are you making a business for?
I was going to say.
Right?
Yeah. That's what I was just about to say, Lil, is all these things that you're saying apply when you're talking about this entrepreneurship program. You got to ask yourself those questions when you're trying to come up with whatever it is you want to do post your career. You got to figure out, who is the audience? Who am I going to be helping? Why are they going to listen to me? Those are important questions. So I think your no nonsense way of all the things that you're doing resonates with people.
I think so. I mean, so far so good. I get pretty busy all the time, but you know, that's the thing. You just, you know, you have to figure out, like, there's a lot of people doing the same thing in the coaching industry. So you're going to see, if you ever go out to networking, I'm a confidence coach, or I help people get unstuck. To what? The wall? What are they unstuck to? You know, you have to what's different? You have to have a differentiator. If you're going to teach confidence, it's got to come from a direction. Can't just be, I'm going to teach you how to be confident. Okay, what does that mean, right? And that's what we work on. We work on finding the differentiators, the things you're passionate and love and are good at and want to be good at and want to learn, and how do we get it to where you have a thing that's not only successful for you, but more importantly, successful for the people you're serving, or you will not be successful. If you're serving the right population and you're giving them what they need, you're going to be fine. You're going to be just fine.
Couple things I just want to touch on.
And like, I'll say one last thing. Publishing is a very confusing place, and we're very different in what we do. And that's something anybody wants to talk about at any point in time. There's 3 different levels of publishing, and people get lost in it, and they spend a lot of money, and they waste a lot of money, and they don't need to. You know, that's something we like to. We do a lot. We publish 4 or 5 books every month, so we're pretty busy.
Yeah,
obviously.
Well, I do want to touch on the publishing thing, because you taught me that as well. A couple things you touched on. I've talked to many other people that are either friends of mine or successful in business. They all, to your point, they're all working long hours, and they all have clear vision, clear mission, and they understand what it is they are trying to do. And now this is why I feed off other people. For those that are listening that are in law enforcement, military, firefighter, dispatch, all those things, I will say one of the things that I got checked on, Lil checked me as well. I was like, I've been in this world where I'm very private, and I don't talk about what I'm doing or there's a small group that knows what I got going on. And hands down, everybody goes, yeah, you got to get over that immediately if this is something you want to do as a business or whatever it is you're doing. The last thing, touching on the publishing part, because I want to come back to that. I don't know if he wants me to talk about how much, but I'll just say this. Doug White had an unfortunate experience with a different publisher where he felt like he wasted money. I don't want to talk about that because I don't know. I didn't ask if I could say that, but he was like, I wasted my money and my time. I was pissed. And he goes, I was so blessed and thankful to find Lil, and she helped me. So to your point, and I want to talk on the publishing thing. It's so hard to find somebody you trust, especially in that space. And there's so many people that advertise different things. And what I'm trying to articulate on this, especially with you, Lil, is once you find somebody that you trust, because, you know, people quibble about money and stuff like that. It's like, look, you could spend less money and not get the product you want, or not get the services you want, or it not be whatever it is you want, responsiveness, all these things. I love that. I love your no nonsense. Like, this is just what it is, and this is where I'm at. And so if you're good, great. If not, okay, well, I've got other things to do. Not that you're not passionate about it, not that you're not very helpful. And then going forward on the other aspects, all the other parts to not just writing a book, but selling it, the website, all these other services that, to be honest with you, until we started talking through it, I didn't even think about it. It wasn't, like you said, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I'm so thankful that I did. So I want to say that, but could you walk through just, not in a derogatory way, but just the different types of publishing and maybe some of the pitfalls that a new author or somebody who's interested in writing a book might fall into?
All right. There are 3 levels of publishing. One is what we call traditional publishing. That means, the big 4 or 5 people, 4 or 5 companies that are left in that sphere will give you money and they'll publish your book. They will also change your book a great deal. They'll probably change a lot of things about your book, but they also take at least 70% of your royalties. And the fact of the matter is that most of those people that do that don't sell very many books either. They're gamblers. 1 out of 20 or so sell millions of copies, and the other 19 sell a few hundred copies. And they don't do a lot of marketing for you, but they won't charge you anything. They'll get the book done. It wouldn't cost them anything. Then there's what we call hybrid publishing. I am not a hybrid publisher either. Hybrid publishers charge you something. I'll give you an example. Someone that we know, and I will not say who, but someone we've mentioned, was told $6,000 to publish her book. No editing, no marketing. They were very clear. They would do nothing for it, but basically what we do for half of that price. And they suggested that she buy 2,000 copies of the book from them. And they would also be taking 80% of her royalties. Look at the face on Mo. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they're supposedly renowned publisher, and they're in New York. Sure. Okay, that's great. I don't think she had to buy the 2,000 copies, but if she had, they would have made money on every one of those copies. So most hybrid publishers, I would say some of them are very good, but a lot of them aren't. They now own your book, basically. They don't own your book, but your name is on it, you're all that. But most of them put the book on their accounts. Tyler's books are in his accounts. When Tyler goes to buy a book, he doesn't have to call me up and say, can I buy a book? He just goes and buys more books. But most of them have to buy their book from the publisher, who then upcharges them at least a couple bucks every book. So let's say, Mo, your book is $5. They're going to charge you $7 or $8 every time you go to buy a book, and you can't buy it without their permission or without their interference, right? And they get a piece of your royalties. Could be 20%, could be 50%, right? And they generally charge about as much as we do, or sometimes a lot more. We have a woman who has already won Worst Client of the Year, and it's only October. In fact, I think worst client ever. Today I told her, you're the most rude and impossible person I've ever met. Please don't come again. I'm not joking. I wish I was.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
She's mean. She's mean-spirited, and she made my girls feel bad. And don't ever do that to my women. Don't do that.
No.
So, as they say, I kill you. No, she's just horrible. But she paid $9,000 to a publisher, and 2 years ago, and got nothing. She got a book cover. They did no editing. Now I'm starting to see why. She probably drove them nuts, but she gave them $9,000, and she was out of luck. And we fixed it for 1/3 of that. It is insane, and didn't have the respect to understand what we've done for her. And it's just, really. So that's not cool. But there are people who pay all this money to hybrid publishers who then own the book, more or less. They have control of your book. I don't like that so much. We're a publishing services company. Basically, we're helping you publish your own book, but we have a publishing team behind you. So we charge a flat fee. It's on my website, what we charge. First responders always get at least 10, 15, 20% off of that, because I don't want to charge you that, sometimes more, but I'm in a good mood. But seriously, depending on the book.
Always get you on a good mood. After 9.
No, I always give first responders, a good discount, because like the one lady I was saying about, the police officer had knocked $2,000 off her book. Just fantastic. So, we want her book out there in the world, right? I do think a lot of times people don't understand, like a publishing services company will charge you a flat fee. They will not take your royalties. They will get you set up to have accounts that you can put your books on. They do the file uploads, all the book covers, all the design work. It's a lot of work. It's herding the cats is a lot of work. So a fair price for that is anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000. We're in the middle, and that's about right. We're generally speaking about $3,500 for a book of up to 50 or 60,000 words most of the time. Sometimes proofreading and editing and stuff like that we charge additionally for. And that's how that goes. And then we build websites for people who want a website, or if they need a logo. We can do all of it. I mean, depends on what they're starting a business from scratch. We can get their business cards, their logos, their pamphlet, anything they want, we can do. So, but generally speaking, most people come to us needing, if they've already written a book and they say, I definitely want to proofread. I'm nervous that maybe I missed some comment. And Kristen will go through it for them in a few days. Then it goes to formatting, and Christina's making a book cover. And When it's all done, we upload the files and find their keywords and write their back cover copy description. So people say, oh, I should buy this book. It's cool. We do all this work for them and get their ISBN numbers and all that stuff that they need that they don't know a damn thing about. And you got a professional doing it for you. And you pay a person to do that the way I always equate it like this. If your car breaks down, you go to a mechanic and you say, I need a new transmission. Mechanic, gets your transmission and fixes it. Now, a hybrid publisher does that, but they also get to drive your car on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You don't want to drive in your car on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Because that's a little bit of what happens. And they do all that for the same amount of money, basically. But then they say, by the way, my kids need to go to school on Tuesday. I'll take a new car. So that's not what we do. Oh. we just fix the car, do the oil change and take our money and go home. But we do help people think about marketing and where do I sell this book? And I like to work with people about where did I never think about that I might could go out and talk, not just bookstores, right? Maybe, what's different that I can do with it that I hadn't thought about. And I'm usually pretty good with ideas of that nature. So
yes, you are.
That's what we do. And I'm leaning up the people that we know. Tyler knows Jason now, and Mike is going to know these guys, and AK DeSanti will know all of they're all in the same field, but they don't know each other. I know them all. So as we say in Jersey, I know a guy. So and I like to know a guy.
Got a guy.
I got a guy for that, So we
right.
hook the guys up with the other guys and girls and gals.
That's right. Lil, I truly I want to respect your time.
No,
I appreciate you.
I didn't want to go over on you. I'm sorry.
No. Listen, I respect your time. I would talk to you for hours because I just enjoy talking to you. I love your stories and I love your passion. And hopefully I didn't come off as the way that you speak, the straight shooting, like it's so needed. I don't like the double speak or I don't like any of that. It's like, who's going to read your book? Why should anybody give a shit? Who are you? Like but it's honest and it's important because it's like, oh, I don't know. Why would anybody give a shit who I am? So anyway, to reiterate my point, I appreciate you. I love what you're doing. I love your passion. And I could speak for Doug and Jason, at least. We all love you. And we talk to anybody who's like, I will say I've started to filter more now. Like, hey, I want to write a book too. Yeah. And I go through like, this is what it's going to take. And a lot of them go, meaning work wise, it's not even the money thing. It's like, it's a lot of fucking work. And they go, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm like, yeah, okay, well then maybe hold off. But I appreciate you. And again, you are part of the team. I think I told you that before we published. I said, maybe you didn't know this or you didn't know what you were signing up for, but you're part of the team now. So thank you.
It's a great team. No, thank you. And, I'm always looking for business. I'm not going to lie. So if anybody's thinking about writing a book, get a hold of me. If you think you might want to become an entrepreneur, the deal holds $9.97 for anybody that knows Tyler and Mo or any all that are first responders. Just get my email address from Tyler and give me a buzz and we'll set you up if you're interested in doing it.
It'll be in the description. It'll be in the description for sure.
I would love, if I could pick like 10 people I want to work with, I'd like to have like 2 nurses and 2 or 3 teachers and first responders. Yeah. Because I think that would be a fun group to hang with and hopefully get some of them to work together. We got one lady who's got a tech lady. She's putting like 5 different people in the tech realm together to make her own team. You don't have to be a solopreneur. You can find 2 or 3 people that do what you do and put something cool together. And that's why I would like to work with first responders. For me, my mother and father were teachers. I consider them first responders too. I really do. It's a shit job these days, and they're in the same realm. Yeah, right.
Mo's doing it.
No,
Mo's doing it now.
Those kids in the school, they're a pain in the ass.
No, Lil Mo's doing it now. She's doing that. She's substitute teaching for her.
It's horrible.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's a different world.
This was a particularly rough week. That's why I'm woo-sawing right now.
I got you, man. I got you. I know it's been a rough since COVID. I think it's been. I love that Saturday night skit where the lady says, what she says is, "Sit down." Have you seen that?
That's Mo. Actually, they just took that from Mo's class.
That was me.
We're not at a level 1. That is not a level 1.
That is not a level 1.
Anyway, we want you guys. We want to teach you how to do something else and build another boat. And I would love to work with any and all of you. That's my deal. So love you all.
Mo, any last words?
Just want to say one thing because I was, I do my digging and finding out stuff about people. And I was on her LinkedIn, and one of the things that she quoted and I thought was pretty interesting, especially after hearing her talk about how she's doing the entrepreneurship, how she's trying to help people. One thing she said is, I'm a boogie. This was another one of these things she hasn't thrown out there. She's a surfer. I don't know if you know that. I'm a boogie boarding surfer who loves the ocean. Surfing is my religion. It's all about knowing how to deal with the waves, which ones to go over, which ones to go through, and which ones to surf. And I feel like based on what she has said to us about publishing and all these things, that is what she's trying to help people do. So thank you, Lil. I loved having you on here and teaching us how to surf.
That is my mantra. There's always this, every life is just a series of waves. You just got to know what to do with them.
I couldn't say it better. Don't go anywhere, Lil. Thanks, Lil.